Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Math with Kieno. Today we're going to talk about negative exponents. And actually, first, before we go to negative exponents, we're going to talk about the zero exponents and what occurs when we have zero exponents, and how we could possibly get ourselves into a situation where we have zero exponents, and what we do with them, how we handle them. It's really not that bad. A lot of people, they hate working with the exponents. You're like, oh my God. And you know what? Repetition is the key. If you're going to get good at anything, repetition is the only thing that's going to get you over the fear or the discomfort. So, first off, we're going to talk about these zero exponents. Now, what the hell is a zero exponent? Well, we had an a over 0. Okay, if we wound up with that, if we're simplifying, we wound up with that. What we need to realize is that this is equal to 1. It's equal to 1. Alright. And I will give you a visual representation of why it's equal to 1. Let's just say we had, I don't know, well, the quotient rule. If you looked at my other video on the exponents, the positive ones, we have a quotient rule. And what this basically says is that this is basically 3 minus 3. Alright, so the negative distributes into the parentheses, and then we actually get a 0. So our result is a equals 0. But if we looked at this, every fraction is basically like a division and multiplication problem. So if we have a over 3 over a over 3, I have to look at what times this is going to give me this. So it's the denominator times what's on this side of the equal sign equals the numerator. So basically 1. Alright, so a over 3 over a to the third over a to the third equals 1. If we use our quotient rule, it basically gives us a to 0. So given that, we can see how we came up with that, or how we got that, or how we could arrive at that when you see a to 0 power. Just to give you another fraction, because some people are like, oh, that doesn't work. But if we just think of it as like this, we have to look at, and I did it wrong. We have 4 over 2, that fraction, that represents 2. And how I look at it is 2 times this number is equal to that number. So 2 times 2 equals 4. And that's why I call a fraction form. It's like a division or multiplication problem. So what times a3 is going to give us a over 3? 1. Okay, so I just wanted to just kind of pound that in a little bit harder. So the 0 power rule of exponents is basically this by itself. A raised to the 0 power is going to be equal to 1. Alright, so if we took and dropped our eraser as many times as I did, nobody drops their eraser like me. Alright, if we took something, we just put it in parentheses, and we'll just say 3x squared. We're going to raise that to the 0 power. Okay, that's easy. That's easy as pie. You wouldn't even let that scare you, because all it equals is 1. Okay, so that's 0 exponents. It's really not too bad. Now, let's get into negative exponents, which is the meat and potatoes of the video. Alright, let's just say we had a over 3 over a over 5. Alright, now raise that a little bit, because we're going to have to work the bottom a little bit. But a over 3 over a over 5. Again, quotient rule comes into play. Quotient rule of exponents, and it will be a 3 minus 5. Okay, now what's going to happen is the negative is going to distribute into the parentheses, and we're going to get a negative 2 just by doing the work. Alright, but that's our answer. So now I'm going to give you a visual representation of what's going on. Okay, because basically when we have a over 2, or a raised to the negative power like that, this is actually going to result in being 1 over a squared. Okay, so when you think about this number, think of it as every number. Like if I have a number 2, it's really 2 over 1. If I have a number 3, it's really 3 over 1. Okay, so a very good memory aid I wanted to give you is if we have a over negative 2, which is basically a over 1, then guess what happens? This letter A is going to go downstairs. Let's think of it as upstairs and downstairs, and it's going to change its mood. That's how we look at this. This thing is upstairs. It's going to go downstairs and change its mood. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to go downstairs and change its sign. So that's how I want you to think about negative exponents when we're simplifying. It's going to go downstairs, change its mood. If the negative's in the bottom, it's going to go upstairs and change its mood. So that's a rule of negative exponents. Another rule of negative exponents is, let's just say we have a over b and we have a negative 2. All right. Well, what's going to happen here is the negative 2 is going to distribute into the fraction. All right. And then what I'm sorry, negative 2, forgot my negative symbols. So what's going to happen if we applied our rule? Then what's going to happen is both of them, A is going to go downstairs, B is going to go upstairs, and they're both going to change their mood. So this is going to equal, and make sure we got enough real estate, B squared over A squared. Okay. So with the negative number, we're going to change them. We're going to change our mood, and that's pretty decent. So now, let's give you something funky. Let's throw something really funky at you. Something that's real scary that you might see on the test. You'll be like, oh my God, a cubed, b to the negative 2, and c. And then we have 2d to the negative 1, e to the negative 4, and f raised to the second power. Now when we look at this, don't be afraid. Look at everything individually. Look at who's going to sit still, who's going to change their mood. That's how I want you to look at this. A is in a positive mood. He doesn't have to go anywhere. He's going to stay where he is. B's got to change his mood. He's negative. He's bad. C is not going to change their mood because they're positive. They're good. 2 is positive. D is negative. You're going to have to change your attitude. E is negative. You're going to have to change your attitude. And F is positive. So they get to stay. They don't have to go somewhere else. All right. So look at it like this. All right. Let's see what's staying. A is staying. A cubed is staying. B is going downstairs to change his mood. C is staying where it's at because it's positive. 2 is staying where it's at. D needs to change his mood just to keep it in order. A, B, C, D. Alright, so A, B went downstairs because he was in the numerator. He had to go downstairs because he had to change his mood. So we worked with D. D, you're bad. You had to change your mood. E, you got to go too because you have a negative attitude. Negative 4. Change, and F stays where it's at because F is good. So this actually winds up being our answer. A to the third power, C, D, E to the fourth power over 2b squared f squared. That is our answer. And everybody's in positive moods because they're where they belong now. So when we see when we're trying to simplify and we see these negative numbers, it's not the end of this question, the answer, or it's not the solution. We have to keep going because people are they're having bad attitudes. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of, let's do something a little interesting now. Let's take 4. Okay, if I learn how to write, to the negative 5th power, y to the negative 3 times 3x to the 3rd y minus 2 over, yeah, and I give you the real funky ones, because when you get funky ones like this, when you get to the real deal on the test, they're going to be much easier. So we're just lifting heavier weights, and we will lift lighter weights on the test, so it'll be much easier. And this is a y. Alright, so how are we going to work this out? Alright, I know it may look scary, but look at everything individually and see what's going on. We have a dot in the middle, so we got some multiplication going on. So first off, the 4 and the 3 are multiplied, and we get 12. X to the 5th and x to the 3rd, okay, it's just like adding. So it's just like saying negative 5 plus 3, and that is going to equal, you don't belong there, negative 2. So x to the negative 2. Alright, when we look at our y, it's like saying negative 3 plus negative 2. Alright, we remove the parentheses, this becomes negative 2, negative 3, so y negative 5. Alright, and the bottom just kind of does its own thing. So what we have after this is, we have, can't believe, I'll have more real estate. So basically what we have at the bottom is, we're going to have 12x to the negative 2, y to the negative 5, over 6x minus 5, y to the 3rd power. Now, we look at this, and we see some x's and y's, we see some variables with some bad attitudes, don't we? So that's going to have to change. It's going to have to change. So what we're going to have to do is, first of all, we're going to divide, which is going to give us a 2, right? And then we're going to have our quotient rule. Make sure we can get all this in. Negative 2 minus 5. So it'll be negative 2 minus negative 5. Alright, which this is going to distribute and become positive 5. And then it's going to be 2 to the 3rd, or x to the 3rd. And then we're going to have 5 minus 3. Alright, so we're going to have negative 5 minus 3, and so the y is going to result in 8. Okay, so now, just looking at this really quick, y, alright. So 2x and 3, and I did something wrong here. I just have to double check. Yes, I did. I know what I did wrong. The y's. This will be 5 minus negative 5 minus 3. The 3, so that's a negative 8. My bad. Okay. So when we get all this done, this is what we wind up with, right? At this point, we wind up with the, and I'll write it bigger, we wind up with 2x 3 y to the negative 8. Who has a bad attitude? Now when we look at this, we have to look at this as like being over 1. Alright? When we have a negative, exponent, and since y has the bad attitude, he's got to go downstairs. He can't stay upstairs because 2 and x, they're happy. Like, dude, we don't want you up here. You got to go downstairs. So you could have a positive attitude. So y goes down, and that is our final answer. And I know that's a corny way of explaining it, but dude, it works. It really works, and it'll help you. And you can remember my corny little story or anecdote to help you when you see these things, and you won't be as afraid of them. Now we're going to do a nasty one, and then we're going to stop. This is going to be really nasty. All right. Let's see. We got 3 AB cubed raised to the negative. Everybody's like, I hate this guy. Negative third over, like there's more, 2A to the negative 4 B 0. Oh yeah, it's gonna get ugly. Alright, so basically at this point what I'm gonna do is I am gonna distribute, we have parentheses, we're gonna distribute that in. And that is gonna give us, make sure we got some real estate, it's gonna give us 3 raised to the negative second power, A to the negative 2, B to the negative 6. Okay, so can you see 2, negative 2 attached to this? It attaches to everything in the parentheses. Okay, and then we'll still have our AB to the negative 3 up top. So AB negative 3. Alright, and then on the bottom, remember, B raised to the 0 power is basically just saying 1. So all that is going to be 2A negative 4. That's all it's going to be because it's just multiplied by 1. So we scratch that out. That's no longer in the equation. We can take U out because it's basically 1. Alright, so now at this point what we are going to do is we are going to move some stuff around here. So we got 3 to the negative power, A, and then we got B, and this is actually multiplied by, so what we're going to get is, by multiplying that together, is we're going to get 3 to the negative 2, A, 2 plus 1 to 1 power, 2 plus 1, it's negative 1, sorry, and then B to the negative 9th. So these are added, negative 6 plus negative 3, it's negative 9. Negative 2 plus negative 1, negative 2 plus positive 1, it's going to be negative 1. And this is still going to be over 2A minus 4. Okay. See that? Not too bad. We just keep everything in order. And we got it looking really, really good. So now at this point what we're going to do is we're going to use our quotient rule because now all we have is our A, or so you make sure we got the real estate. So as far as A is concerned, A, negative 1 minus negative 4. This distributes in, and it's just like saying negative 1 plus 4, and A becomes cubed. Okay, see how that works? It becomes cubed, and then our next answer is going to be 3 to the negative 2, A cubed. This goes away. Because we worked that out. A cubed, and this is going to be over 2. And then we're going to have, alright, So now, at this point, we got to see who the angry people are. And who are the angry people? Well, our angry people look like our -3. A is happy. B is bad. And 2 is okay. So basically what we're going to get is A stays up top, upstairs, because he has a great attitude. 3 comes down, 2 comes down, B to the 1, we don't have to say this, just pretty much understood. Alright? So then all we have left is A cubed. We'll work at the bottom. 3 times 3 is 9. And add another 3, that's 27. And we got 2. B came down, and I'm sorry, that was -9. -9. Alright. So 3 squared is 9. Times 2 is 18. So then our final answer is A cubed over 1/8 B to the positive 9. Because this comes down and it becomes 9. Had a bad attitude, went downstairs. So I know that was a little lengthy, but I want to do something interesting here. I'm looking for something really interesting. You know what? Let's just do one real quick. It's really not that bad. What you guys think? I do like tackling big ones, but let's just say we have A to the fourth over 2B. Not too bad, right? I really want a negative one, but I'll just use this one. So 4 distributes in, we have A to the 16th over 2B. Not too bad. I'm looking for a negative one. I'm looking for some angry variables. And let's see. Okay. Found something. It's not too bad either. But just to give you an idea how to work these. 2x to the -2 y squared. So we got some angry people already, and then we have 4 x squared y. You actually have it reversed, but it doesn't matter. I like mine in order. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at our 2 and our 4. This actually is going to result in 1/2. When we look at the 2 and the 4, it's going to reduce to 1/2, but the 1 is not going to be missed. It's going to be not in the. So we'll have the 2 on the bottom. The x squared is going to go down. All right, and then it's going to become x to the 4th. And then we have a y2 up top and a y on the bottom. Nothing needs to go upstairs. And that's our final answer. So, just replay this video. I'm thinking about doing some other exercises down the road working with negative exponents, but that's all we're going to work with for right now. Again, repetition is the key. If you kind of get lost or whatever, just stop, take a deep breath, and just go over the video again. So I do a step by step, I give you the rules. So thanks for watching Math with Kieno, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.